I was like trying to hand out ass whoopings like nobody's business.
Okay, so obviously this is part 3 of chapter 2, and I'm just gonna pick right back up where I left off at. So we got in such a huge argument that night that I allowed myself to go and entertain someone else, which was obviously like the absolute most wrong thing that I could have done. But again, this argument was like really big, and we had broken up, or said, you know, we were gonna break up because of the argument. And I took that opportunity to be selfish and to go outside of my relationship and entertain someone that I knew I could have.
So backstory, I am to this day very much so a type of person where, not bragging, but I can argue to try to make someone understand my point. But I feel as though one thing that I compliment or pride myself on is that I don't hold grudges. And so I felt as though after that big fight, as big as it was, you know how you can say so much in a moment, but then like you kind of know like, oh, we're still gonna be good. After everything was all said and done, I was like, okay, this can't be for real. Like, he's gonna look back and he gonna think this is crazy, whatever. And I'm the type of person where the next day I can get over something as long as we can talk about it. I don't like sweeping things under the rug. I want to have a conversation about it. Well, I felt as though when I did that, I think you went to stay somewhere else that night. I was back at home, and when he came back, it was just like he was avoiding me. I think that for me, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, like he's still mad, like typical Jarius, like whatever. I want to say like maybe 2 days had passed. We were barely talking to each other, and you were at work, and I was just like, okay, well, we haven't been talking. I'll make dinner. And so I remember making dinner, and I text you, and I was just like, hey, like, what time are you gonna be home? Like, I cooked. And you was just like, the store is doing an audit tonight. And I was like, okay, whatever. So he came home like late. I was just like sitting there. I think you like fixed your food, and I sat next to you, and I was just like, okay, like, what's up? You've been avoiding me. Like, now, like, you're staying late at work, where you've never, like, in the history, like, since you've been working there, like, stay late. And I just remember asking, do you like somebody else? Like, is there somebody else? And he like looked at me and was just like, yeah. In that moment, it was just like really weird, because part of me was like really upset, but then I was hurt. And I just remember like, are you serious? He was just like, yeah. And I just like went in the room. Like, I just went in my room, and you came in there, and you was just like, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. How did you feel in that moment?
I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna move on, which obviously is the wrong thing to do, like to just try to go and jump into like a new situation. But I just remember your face when I told you. And I feel like to this day, that's like one of the most hurtful things that I've ever done to another person. I just straight up told you that, yeah, like it didn't matter. To this day, I know that that's one of the situations that affected you the most.
If anybody has ever dealt with something, and feel free to comment, like if you ever dealt with something that was just like hurtful, whether it was just like cheating or like and so like he said, like we had said like, I'm done with you or whatever, but like who doesn't say that in arguments? So like for me, I'm just like, okay, like I'm done with you, but like we still stay together. Like I'm still like texting you, like we're still together, but like we were just in an argument. And so anytime something happens, I go through stages. I go through like a phase of like shock, anger, sadness, and then it just like shifts. And so I just remember like coming in, and I think you asked me like, was I okay? And I was crying, and then I went to sleep. In the middle of the night, I just like woke up, and it was like the angry phase, and I was just like, F this. It was like everything was hitting me at once. And so like I remember I grabbed his phone, went in my room. We had separate rooms at the time. We was sleeping together, but like we had separate rooms because it was a 3-bedroom
we were place. Out, so yeah. We had our own.
I went in, and at first I didn't see anything. It would just look like normal in his text, because I'm like, I'm about to find out who this is. And so oddly enough, something made me click on one of his old classmates' names, because I was just like, okay, like he never talks about her. And so what he did was, the person that he was talking to, like he changed their name in his phone to like that person's name. The guy sent a picture, and so like I saw his face and like knew who it was, and it was somebody that he worked with. It was like a blackout after that. I just know like I went in there and like woke you up. I don't know if we started fighting. I legit don't even remember.
I don't either. It was just like a bad situation, but I do know that situations like that, like you really have to go in deep to really be able to heal from the situation. And I think the issue that I had was that once we did get over that little hump and we got to a place of where we could talk and that we found out that we did actually want to continue the relationship, obviously I had made this huge mistake that I can't take back. So he didn't know to the extent of what happened that night. I don't know, just somewhere in the process, I'm just like, okay, well, if I'm going to continue with this person, clearly I can see that it hurts him. So like, I can't be real and just tell him everything that happens. And that's just being young, inexperienced, dumb, and just not thinking how that's going to affect, you know, the person in the long run. And I feel like I gave him the incorrect version of what happened that night. And I kept that a secret for a number of years.
And one of our friends knew about it, and it was not a joke, but it was always like, I know, like, it still doesn't make sense to me. Like, it still does not make sense to me. Jarius would always just be like, well, I'm telling you, like, do you want to call him? Like, I'm telling you, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And of course, like, I'm at a point now where I'm like, it's been years. I'm not about to call this boy, like, and look crazy and think that, like, we're still talking about him. But it was just kind of one of those things where it was just like, I don't believe you, but like, I have no choice but to believe you because this is what you're telling me.
He just kept pressing, and eventually one day I just had a transparent moment and just wanted to rid myself of like the situation, and I just told him what happened. I have to be understanding of the implications of a lie that I've told and that he's never really gotten closure on, because I was afraid that if I told you everything that happened, it was just going to be no chance that we were going to get back together. So when I was telling you what had actually happened, I felt like that you would have a different reaction to hearing it because I'm coming clean about it finally. And
he wanted me to be grateful that I finally knew the truth rather than understand my feelings surrounding it, that he had kept it alive for so long. The hardest part was that in that situation, y'all, I like flipped out back then. I knew, of course, where the person worked, so I was like trying to figure out if he was at work because I was gonna go up there. So apparently the guy didn't know about me, but in that moment I didn't care. I was like trying to hand out ass whoopings like nobody's business. I went to school with the guy also, so not only did he work with Jarius, but I went to school with him and like had classes with him to where like he was 4 seats down from me. So just imagine like how difficult that was for me to like sit next to somebody. I will tell you that Beyonce's Resentment song was like on repeat for months. I still don't know where I found the strength to come back from that from.
Looking at where we are now and the issues that we have faced in our marriage and as of recent, I think it's healthy for us to be able to go back and evaluate past situations that has contributed to where we are today, because obviously that was a huge moment in our relationship back then and recently because of the truth being revealed, that I feel like I needed to address it, and I feel like we needed to address it head on to understand why I did the things that I did and why I'm different and why I wouldn't do those things again. Because obviously on your part, I can understand that it's just like, how can I ever trust this person when you have lied to me for years? And as I'm sure you guys can imagine, that comes with just a whole lot of, I have to reevaluate you as a whole. One of the things that you said to me when I told you was, I didn't give you the privilege of being able to decide if you wanted to remain in this relationship at that time when it happened, because you were told information that was not correct and you didn't get to evaluate how you truly felt about moving forward with me because you were told a lie, and that you wouldn't have continued the relationship knowing what you know now. It just sucks that like I've done so much in my past to get us here. I just wish that I could just go back and erase certain things, but I'm glad that we're able to talk about it, and I'm glad that we're still trying to move forward in the right direction. But just in front of everybody, I just want to give you a sincere apology to just for all of like the stuff that I've done. And I think that as a man, you don't really understand how hurtful it is to be on the receiving end of a situation like that. I just, number one, applaud you for like your strength in the situation and just being able to deal with it and being able to stick with me through the process and just trying your best to like comprehend everything. But you know, I do hope that one day you do get to a point of peace with the situation and that like you're truly able to like forgive me for disrespecting you in that way. I love you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so that wraps up our chapter 2. So next week we will be discussing where things are presently and just really tackling the issues that we face in today's time head on. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. Give this video a thumbs up, share it if it can help someone. And as always, we love you guys and thank you for allowing us to sit here and be ourselves in front of you. Flaws and all. Until next time.